Lost on Lost Season 2, baby!
Hell yeah!
We've watched Seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Lost, and we've learned a lot.
Did we?
And we've learned to love Jack, Kate, Sawyer, Boone, and Claire.
Did we?
But now it's time for Seasons 4, 5, and 6.
That's right, we're still going to talk about the mysteries and mythologies of the island.
And obviously hot tropical hookups.
But now we're going to talk about things like the freighter,
The Others,
Charles Widmore,
The Lighthouse,
time travel,
9/11,
Ronald Reagan,
the Catholic Church,
Titus,
gold chains,
the military-industrial complex,
the prison industrial complex,
the void,
the orb,
and so much more.
So strap on and strap down, because if you thought last season was confusing,
This is going to be so much worse. Or better if you like being lost on Lost. Strap on?
you heard me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lost on Lost. I'm JP Russell, and I'm joined, as always, by a man who's the whole package. He's got looks, he's got personality, and boy, does he have feet, Adam Busher.
We got 7 feet, because I'm 5'9", and then I have 2 feet. So that's 7 feet and then 9 inches. Why'd you say hello at the beginning of the show? That's so weird. We said welcome like 84 times in a row, and then you said...
I know.
Hello.
I feel there's a bunch of things I wanted to switch up with this one, and I felt like sort of a paradigm shift in how we're welcoming our guest is how we're going to start that off. Okay. Listen, my sweet baby boy has turned into big evil daddy, and I'm going through some changes. My body's changing, my personality's changing. There's hair where there didn't used to be, and I felt like changing it up a little bit.
All right, well, I support your personal growth and your hair growth, I guess, too.
Good for you, man. It's an accomplishment at this age.
Adam,
Yeah.
we have guests.
We do have guests. We certainly do. We got 2 of them. Twice as
There's-
much.
The S. Yes.
Two times the guest, 2 times the fun, 2 times the episode today. Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you. Good to be back.
And welcome for the first time. Well, I guess hello for the first time, since we're saying hello now instead of welcome. You're not being welcomed, you're being helloed. Hello, Allie.
Happy to be hello. How do you respond to that?
I said we shouldn't have Chris on. We should just give Allie 2 microphones
And that's fair.
and record her in stereo. So, Chris, if you just want to...
I'll just leave.
Sound more like me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God. Side note, for those of you at home, Chris and Allie are married
Yeah, sorry about that.
to one another.
It might bleed into the conversation a little.
Happily for years and years.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, Chris, we're kind of familiar with you, so we'll come back to you. Let's kick it off with Allie. Allie, you haven't been on the show before due to the ever-shifting sands of time and life. You were supposed to be on in the past, but we had to do some
So you
rescheduling.
claim this is
So-
really
Oh, yeah.
like
There's a lot of CYA.
you'd be like you were meant to come here 20 times.
Yeah, I mean, when JP and I first started pitching the show to each other back in 2020, we were like, let's just do you, me, and Allie, the 3 of us. Let's do a show together.
Yeah. Now we find out you weren't really invited, and there's a whole Ellen DeGeneres thing. We're going to get canceled. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to some time off.
You guys are just going to make her cry during this interview? Is that what's going on? Going
Yeah.
full Ellen on it?
Allie, you had your tear ducts electively removed as a child, didn't you?
This is a lie.
Yeah.
I can cry. I just don't often.
Choose not to.
I definitely didn't cry during this episode.
Oh, well, that's something you and I do not have in common. I wept like a fucking... Allie, tell us a little bit about your depth and or breadth of knowledge of the television show Lost.
Almost nothing.
Okay.
And what I thought I knew was not at all helpful in watching this episode.
What did you... why did you watch the show? It was on when we were all in college.
I don't know. I just was not into it. I don't know. It was never something that I was like, yeah, I want to watch that. I knew of it because high school friends of mine that were very into Lord of the Rings were like, we're going to watch this show because there was a Hobbit on it.
Oh, I was like, what is the overlap here? And then I was like, oh, yeah.
It was like,
Darling.
oh, one of the Hobbits is going to be on. Like, we have to watch this. It's like, okay, cool. Enjoy that plane crash show.
Yeah,
That's what I knew
and
about
enjoy
it.
him certainly not being the best part of it.
I watched this episode and I was like, I thought there was a plane crash. This is not at all relative to anything that's going on. I thought there was a Hobbit. He's nowhere around.
They did mention him, but he was not here.
His one ring is in this episode.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No.
I guess the broader question is, what type of television do you like in general? Serialized, sitcoms, prestige, Trash.
This is a very difficult question.
It shouldn't be.
Okay, so I don't watch as much TV as I used to, probably.
Sure.
I read a lot more.
Sure, yeah.
We watch a lot of TV together, Chris and I. So
Okay.
there's a lot of like, are you interested in this? I'm interested in this. Let's watch together. And then we are both busy people, so we never get around to actually watching these shows. A lot more prestige, probably, or like streaming, which is not necessarily prestige, but it's like, you know, you got to pay for it.
Right.
Recently, I just finished up Lessons in Chemistry because I had read the book.
Yeah.
And thus hated the show, even though it's a very good show. It's like, it's different from the book enough that I was like, that's not right.
Is the book good?
Yes, very good.
So, Chris, then refresh us your knowledge of the show.
I like to think of Lost like the Harry Potter series as it was coming out in books. I kind of remember the characters, but it's been so long since I've seen it. I forget how they tie together. Okay. I'm just kind of familiar with the faces, and I've jumped around so much at this point, nothing makes sense.
Gotcha.
So I at least know like the big players, the key players, how they shift, and the dynamics is always new to me.
All right.
Well, nothing like the season 5 2-part finale to refresh your fucking memory.
Last episode I watched was the end of season 3, so shit's changed a bit. I don't know what you're talking about. She's looking at me like, can you explain anything? I'm like, fuck if I know. Good luck to us both.
All right. Well, yeah, that's Chris and Allie. Super happy to have them. We're going to dig into it.
Absolutely.
Today on Lost, we are watching and talking about The Incident. Parts 1 and 2. The Incident, Part 1 and 2, originally aired on May 13th, 2009. Part 1 was written by Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse, and Part 2 was written by Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof. I'm not fully aware of the rules about WGA crediting and stuff like that, but there's a specific reason why they are like that, and I don't know what it is. I'm of the notion that the more names are on it, probably the worse the episode's going to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fingers in that pie.
Yeah. Teleplay by Blair, written by Gurr.
I love Gurr.
Both parts were, of course, directed by Jack Bender because Jack Bender is their resident producer-director. The Incidents Part 1 and 2 take place on day 4 after the crash of Ajira 316 in 1977, and then day 5 after the crash of Ajira 316 in 2007. Those are the 2 days that the show...
Just 2 days?
Plays... JP.
It felt like 30 different days to me.
Yeah.
JP, do you have a recap?
I think so.
Do your best. We're all rooting for you.
Okay.
Yeah, explain to me what this was about.
Let me log onto my notes real quick. www.theisland.bomb. On the island, Jack has a thermonuclear device, and he's really jazzed about getting to use it. Our heroes need to either start or end or continue a causality loop to stop or prevent or start the events of the past, future, whatever. It's some timey-wimey bullshit. Trademark. Meanwhile, on the island, my sweet evil boy, Johnny Locke, leads a group of friends to go meet Jacob. Ben is really excited to finally meet his old pen pal after all these years. I hope they have a deep connection. And Frank's palling around with the most useless group of NPC luggage handlers I've ever seen. In some sort of parallel timeline flashbacks, Jacob pops into all of our main heroes' lives. He jumps in to give them small gestures of kindness. I bet Jacob was the guy in my life who kept his Napster connection on so I could finish stealing Saint Anger in 2003. Hey, Adam! Let's have our own gincident here on Lost.
Lordy. We open in flashback. I think it's the mid 1800s.
Yeah,
I
I mean, there was that big old galleon out in the out in the water.
Galleon. Allie, do you have period piece knowledge that can tell us exactly what class of vessel that is?
I'm not like hyper into ships. So no, I can't just
That's gonna be a problem.
I could start naming ships, but I have no idea it's a sloop, maybe.
A sloop. It was not a sloop.
But yes, it is some sort of wind-powered ship with many sails.
I'm writing down ship expert right now.
But there's also like a very much ancient looking statue that looks pretty well intact. So
Right.
I was confused.
Almost like Egyptian-esque
Yeah.
or Grecian.
We see Jacob and the Man in Black here on Lost and Lost. We've gotten to know their backstory pretty well, but the chronological viewer, I don't know how much they have seen of Jacob and the Man in Black at this point. But yeah, they have a little conversation on the beach about there's a ship, and it looks like Jacob invited them here or something like that. Or the ship's there because of Jacob, and they have little sort of philosophical conversation about how basically anyone that comes to the island, all they do is destroy. It's the same every time. It seems like that they've kind of done this dance before.
Whenever Jacob brings some folks here, it never does what he wants. It seems like he's looking for people to be good or to do good or something like that.
Right.
And his brother, the Man in Black, Titus Welliver, explains to him, he's like, it's not gonna happen. Men are the worst. Stop.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a weird prequel to Good Omens for a second. It felt very just like, what the fuck am I watching?
And that, yeah, it is kind of a version of that. Like Jacob and the Man in Black are two sides of a coin, not necessarily good and evil, but maybe
Positive, negative.
Yeah,
or...
positive and negative, something like that. They're sitting under the complete statue of Taweret. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. We've seen the foot of this statue in the past where, like they're sailing around and it's like, what's up with that foot? Why do you have 4 toes? The whole thing used to be there, but yeah, it's the 1800s. This ship, I think that they're observing is supposed to be the Black Rock.
I assume, but
which does end up getting thrown into the interior of the island. It's where they store the olives.
Men in Black says how much he wants to kill Jacob.
You have no idea how much I want to kill you. Yes, I do. It's all you talk about.
Yeah, you need a different hobby. Fantasizing about this.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
But yeah, we flash forward to a different flashback. This is, I think, the late 70s is supposed to be.
Yeah, something like that.
It's little Kate and a blonde kid, possibly Tom, her childhood sweetheart.
It's gotta be because he's got the plane.
Future officer-related shooting victim.
Oh, jeez.
Tom, yeah. But yeah, they're in a grocery store and she's like, hey, go look out. I'm going to do some snatching. He's like, I don't want to. And she's like,
just do it.
And he's like, you've convinced me. He's the worst lookout ever, and she's the worst shoplifter ever, but I guess they're children that you need to take time to develop these skills. We've often talked about when we first met Kate back at the beginning of the show, how she was like, oh, she's this bad seed or whatever. And it's like, and we were all like, well, she doesn't really give the image that she is like this criminal, but now we're getting seeds of like her being a little shoplifter. And it's like, oh yeah, maybe she always was, she had a penchant for rebellion and law breaking. And
I don't know. Lots of kids have tried to take a thing, that doesn't mean that they're
she's like packing a backpack
stoves.
like she's on Survivor, though.
But she steals a lunchbox.
Yeah.
It's a lunchbox.
Right.
It's not like a pack of gum or an apple. It's like, I want this thing. I definitely can't afford it. Look out. I'm going to stick it in my backpack and run away with it. Like that. There's some premeditation there.
Yeah. I'm starting to come around on the whole Kate is at least an outlaw at heart, because if she wants the lunchbox, she can't afford it. That's not going to stop her from having it. They get caught because they're children and they're terrible at this.
Right.
But the clerk is a total hard-on.
He is a real jerk. You are bankrupting my...
I'm going to call your parents and the cops.
Right.
Dude, just take the lunchbox back and kick him out.
Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well, it's the silent generation probably, so not so silent.
I guess.
Wait, from World War One?
Yes. I mean, he's an older guy in the 70s. It's not implausible.
Born in like the 20s at the earliest.
Listen, I didn't get his full rundown, so
That's fair. Maybe he's ageless like Richard.
Just like I'm not an expert on ships, Chris is not an expert on
World War
generations.
Yeah, is that guy like Gen X? God, they aged horribly.
He did skateboard into the back.
Cowabunga haters.
Jacob is there, and he's like, dude, don't be a dick. I'll buy the lunchbox. It's a lunchbox.
Yeah, and then he's like...
The guy is like, well, I guess if somebody pays for it, there's no theft, but you still can't come here again. Dude, I would never shop at this establishment. I just proved it to you. I wasn't going to shop here.
Oh my god.
Jacob talks to her like, don't be stealer, you be a good kiddo, and then he boops her on the nose.
Yep.
And
Right.
I'm like, don't fucking boop a
No,
child.
you can do that.
is
Back
not-
in the 70s, you could boop strange children on the nose. Strange men could boop strange children on the nose. It was okay in the 70s.
Ugh.
That's why people are the way they are now.
That's why they're all.
That's why
Yeah,
we realized
right.
that you shouldn't have been doing it, but
Right.
it was okay at the time. We always have to remember that, the lens of time and all
to
that.
excuse the atrocities.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep. Okay.
Not capital A atrocity. I wouldn't say booping this little girl's nose is an atrocity.
Listen, they didn't know racism was bad back in slave times. It was just,
This show did because there were no people of color in this scene.
Oh, well.
Now, I think the point could be made. That was intentional.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they are in Iowa, so.
Right.
Well, that's
Cut to a submarine.
Yeah, 1977. The way that this scene was shot, Kate and Sawyer and Juliet are sitting down in a submarine. They're about to have snacks and drinks and head back to the mainland. The submarine trip, we found out that it can be a little harrowing, so you gotta take a couple of Ambien to just kind of take the edge off.
Yeah. Allie, do you know what kind of submarine that was?
Nautical expert Allison Theabo.
I don't know, submarines. Obviously. I was gonna make a joke about whatever the German one was, but I can't even remember what that's called.
U571?
Yes. Hey, is this Red October? I heard they've been hunting for
Is
it.
this K-19, the Widowmaker? How many more can we do?
Yes. Love it.
The Life Aquatic? No, that's
The
not
Life
the name of the
Aquatic.
submarine. It's the same in the movie, right? But yeah, the way this was shot, I didn't find out until later that they were in handcuffs because they're all just shot sitting down with their hands at their sides. And you never see their hands. And then later, in a different scene when they're still in the sub, somebody undoes their handcuffs, and I was like, oh, they're in handcuffs?
Well, yeah, because I saw Kate in a handcuff, but I wasn't sure if the rest of them were, too.
Yeah. And LaFleur is supposed to be the head of security. Something's not right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, Kate's like, Jack somehow got his hands on a hydrogen bomb, and he's going to blow up the island. And Kate wants to stop him because that's a horrible idea, I guess, in general. Maybe if you have more specific information like Jack does, it's not a horrible idea. But like, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, somebody should stop him. I don't know if I should. But
Godzilla should.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
should.
Eat that radiation, buddy.
Okay. I know this is science fiction, and every time travel movie's got to have its own set of rules.
There needs to be some logic, and
Sure.
you can create your own logic when it's a thing that
As long
doesn't
as you
exist.
explain what it is. But
Yeah.
like their understanding of their own rules only goes so far because they're like, are you going to let Jack kill all of those people? Why is Jack doing it? So that none of this ever happens. Therefore, he is not going to be on the plane and crash and then go back in time and kill all the people.
Right.
I understand it's a causality loop, but like they're only getting to the bomb going off part, you know?
Right. Nobody will die because instead of proceeding onto a timeline in which all these people were killed by a nuclear explosion, they just go back to the appropriate timeline that they're trying to create in which this never happened.
Well, not to jump
Right.
ahead, but it seems like they all get on Jack's ship pretty quick once they like
I
hook up.
have some notes about
I
that.
was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, they're very pertinently like, we gotta stop Jack. We gotta go turn around this fucking submarine that's gonna save our lives.
Sawyer was like, I don't want to stop Jack
Right.
from resetting the timeline because I actually have a life now. Unlike
Right.
the rest of my life
Yeah.
where it's been chaos and crime and vengeance and depression, I actually am happy here with Juliet, and I have been for the past 3 years. He said, we had a life here in Dharmaville till y'all
Yeah.
showed up. And so, yeah, so that's why Sawyer's not on board with the whole bomb thing.
Right.
Sawyer liked it when there was still segregation. Anywho, moving on. Jack's in a cave.
I just called this the bomb cave. I don't know. 'Cause it looks like it looks like similar construction to Jacob's loom cave under the statue.
sort of.
It feels temple-y.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
is clearly relatively close to the barracks we find in a later scene.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a fucking bomb in here.
Which I love that they're talking about it being a 20-ton bomb. They're like, how are we going to lift it? It's 20 tons. It's like, that's not how bombs work.
Yeah, they're
That's not what that means.
they're making
though.
it sound like it weighs 20 tons, and that's why they have to take the core out. And it's just like, I don't know how bombs work, but I'm pretty sure that's not it. That's not what that means.
How am I going to lift this 1,000 island dressing?
Listen, I
Like,
saw the rock. You take the green balls out of the center, right? Yeah. And then it's way lighter. Way lighter.
yeah.
No.
Wait, is that a reference to The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. We'll get to the point later where he went on a whole rock tangent.
Sick.
He sure
you
did.
know. But yes,
Good speak.
there was a lot of discussion of just bombs in general,
Or how the
and
episode would be better if
Godzilla.
Godzilla came on.
Sure.
Yeah, there's just a lot of that.
Yeah, a 20-ton bomb, hydrogen bomb, has the force of 20 tons of dynamite. That's how they
Right.
measure H-bombs, atomic bombs.
Yeah.
So like a
I saw
5
Sloppenheimer.
Yeah, exactly. So the bomb itself doesn't weigh 20 tons. That said, they obviously can't carry it.
No.
But apparently they don't need the whole thing. They just need the core. They need the core. Resident nerd Faraday has a book full of notes on how to use a plutonium core from a hydrogen bomb to reset the timeline.
That's in my journal. I
Just
don't know.
standard
Don't you just have that written
you
down?
research, yeah.
Yeah.
They've got to take the core to an energy pocket, according to Faraday. They've only got a couple hours left, according to Faraday's journal. He's got this all figured out.
Right, which in the pocket is just so happens to be getting drilled out right now.
Rephrase that.
No. No, I'm sticking with getting drilled out. Thank you.
All right.
Allie, you're such a lucky woman.
Hey, baby.
But yeah, they've got a timeline, which is awesome. Love it when they don't explain necessarily why. Maybe the why is Faraday knows that they're about to hit the pocket with the drill. Maybe that's the why. But introduce a ticking clock. That's how you introduce tension in any script.
Right.
Now we got to go. We know we got to go, so let's go. Saeed starts taking apart the bomb. They get going. We cut over to the energy pocket, 1977, still the Swan site. Dr. Chang stops the work. Redzinski comes over whining about whatever.
You know what? I still love Radzinski. He's just like, my man's all about science, and no one's gonna stop him, and he's just so comically evil. I just love him.
He's got a face that you just love to hate, too.
Oh, he's got such a punchable face, and the hairline and the nerd glasses, everything. Just
We've established here on season 2 of Lost and Lost that we are vehemently anti-nerd. So
yes.
Olive.
But yeah, he's like, my project, my dome, and Chang's like, this is fucked, bro. Like, you're about to drill into a. This is horrible. This is going.
There's a magnet fart in there.
Yeah,
like,
and we got to keep it under wraps.
Magnet fart.
Canonically, we call it a magnet fart here on Lost and Lost.
And Redzinski's like, fuck all that. We're turning that shit back on. And Chang's like, all right, cool.
Drill.
I wrote this down. Chang says we might be in the middle of an insurrection, and he's, I guess, right, because there's some sort of divide happening. They're evacuating part of the island, the submarine thing, the hostiles, blah, blah, blah. If I were Redzinski, that would be enough for me to be like, yeah, why don't we wait a couple hours?
Yeah, let's focus our energy somewhere else.
Deal with that. Then we can go to drill.
And that's why you'll never discover anomalies, Adam.
Yeah, you're right. I don't have the gumption. I don't have the wherewithal. I don't have the strength of character of mind to compare myself to Edison and then restart the drill like an asshole. Redzinski compares himself to Edison. I hated him. Oh. Cut to 30 years later.
Sure, why not?
How you feeling, Allie?
I mean, you're making it make more sense and also less sense.
And that's why we get those big sponsorship deals.
At least you're telling me like when things are happening, because this is about where like we're jumping around and I'm thinking it's all happening at the same time.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it was clearly not.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, like I have no frame of reference. I don't even think we've gotten to the part where there's like 30 years later, which was my only clue that this wasn't all happening at the same time.
That's right here, right after Edison. After Redzinski restarts the drill, we get the 30 years later card, which is the opposite of the 30 years earlier card we got several episodes ago. That when I saw that, I wanted to put my head through the TV.
I just hate serif fonts. I was like, ugh, gross. Anyways,
so this is 30 years later. So that was 1977. Here we are in 2007, 3 years after the original crash. So yeah, and this is a few days after the second, I guess third plane crash, because the first plane crash was the Beechcraft, and then the second one was A-15, and the third one is a Giro with 316. Anyway, it's a few days after the most recent plane crash, 2007, 3 years after the
This is the plane crash I was promised.
Yes.
I was promised a plane crash.
I think it's right here in my notes. Isn't the show about people deserted after a plane crash? Question mark.
Yes. And it is. And yeah, so there was a plane crash just a few days prior to this. Sun and Ben were on the plane.
Yeah, Sun really wanted to kill Ben, and now they're kind of like chumming around. So something's going on there.
Yeah, shifting loyalties and all that. But yes, the man I lovingly refer to as Flock, and was referred to as such by the Lost community when he was on Faux Lock. Flock is leading some folks to Jacob, Richard, Ben, Sun among them. They have a conversation here Ben used to be the leader of the others, and so
Yes.
he was the only one who
Which is where I left with him.
The leader of the others is the only person that can talk to Jacob. So he had always claimed, while in leadership of the others, that he could talk to Jacob, receive orders from him, all that stuff. And it turns out that was all a lie.
That was a fucking lie.
You got to pretend that you have the authority if you don't have it, because without it, what is leadership? But yeah, so Ben never met Jacob. Ben also was the one who killed Locke. I have a question mark. In my notes.
Yeah.
I mean, short answer, yes, he absolutely did.
Okay.
Short answer, yes.
But it's more complicated than that, and we'll talk about that all in the life of Jeremy Bentham. Richard doesn't age because of Jacob. Flock is here because of Jacob. This is all because of Jacob. Jacob is all powerful, or at least powerful on the island. He can clearly move around time and place because he's been already in little Kate's life before. Flock wants to kill the rest of the Ajira survivors, which is Alana, Brom, and Frank. And yeah, there are their baggage handlers.
But fucking, Flock? Faux Lock? I'm just calling him Daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy is like, all right, well, we're gonna fucking have to deal with these guys. And Richard's like, what do you mean deal with them? And fucking Locke's like, you fucking know. Like,
How do we deal
come on,
with
don't
things?
don't
How do
be
we deal
fucking
with things
stupid.
around here?
Come on, we got to clean up some messes. Get a mop.
Yeah, Locke's really got an attitude change
he
since I
does.
last was around.
It's almost like he's an entirely different person. Speaking of body bags, we cut over to the beach. Alana, Lapidus, Brom, 2 other guys, so there are 5 people. They arrive on the shore with the crate. They are headed here from...
Allie, what kind of boat are they on?
You're just like, hey, you know things. Just like
It says here in my notes that you're some sort of nautical expert.
we skipped over my expertise, which was the fiber arts in the beginning. He was like, and I was like,
shit.
ooh, we're doing some weaving.
Oh, don't worry. There's more weaving.
I read a whole book about this. No. This is
it's
unimportant.
Hugo.
You don't need to know about this.
Hugo weaving. That was Lord of the Rings. That's the other thing. Anyways.
But yeah, they got a crate. Brom is really mad that they have Frank. Dude, relax. Why are you so hyper?
Frank's taking a little siesta.
But he could be a candidate for something?
Maybe, yeah.
Which is, yeah. And he's like, I was faking asleep. What am I a candidate for?
Yeah. They're going to run an island primary.
We're doing a relay race with the other survivors.
Right, but like it doesn't really matter because like in the end the island electoral college is the one that really votes. So like
Which is a
it's
broken system, as we
problematic.
all know.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're on Hydra Island and you want to vote for Jacob, it doesn't matter because Hydra Island's votes are all going to go for the Man in Black just based on population and all that stuff.
Right, and the Pearl's like a territory, but it doesn't have representation in the Island House of Representatives, and it's the whole thing's a fucking mess.
Yeah, it's really, really, really dumb. And so that's why we're starting our campaign here, statehood for the Pearl. Here on Los Alamos. Bob's like, look at the crate, and then Frank's like, oh god. Quick guessing game here. What do you guys at this point? Because we find out later what was in the crate. What did you think was in the crate when they opened it and didn't show the audience?
I don't think I even thought about what was in the crate.
Okay.
I think I was just
It's so anticlimactic.
I thought it was like another nuclear weapon, honestly. to like,
yeah.
Good. That was
yeah,
good.
just 2 nukes,
Yeah.
1 cup.
Dueling nukes.
Yeah.
I think I was appreciating the fact that we were watching this on Hulu, so there actually was an ad break here, and I was like, "Oh, a commercial break, just like in the olden days."
That's literally the comment she had on that scene was like, "Oh, look, a commercial break."
Allie's like, shit, I should buy a Kia. All right. Yeah, I thought exactly as you, Chris. I was like, it's either another nuke because of like the case that it's in, or it's a dead body, probably Locke's.
Which I had no frame of reference to expect.
Like that case has got to be heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
Like put Locke in a burlap sack and carry his ass. Why are you lugging that big ass thing through the jungle?
It is very large, like knowing what's in there. So like, why didn't it need to be that big?
I thought that, and I was proven wrong later, I thought that they were carrying his coffin with his body in the coffin. Because, I was like, why is that crate so fucking big?
It's a box in a box.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought,
Okay.
I
Sure,
thought
yeah,
there was a coffin in it. They were protecting the coffin for whatever
Right.
reason.
Because the finish was really nice, and it took a you know,
$12,000 coffin probably.
And in the end, they ended up just dumping his
Dumping him
body
out.
on the sand anyway. So it's like, why the fuck?
You want some loose meat?
We
Anyways.
cut to a flashback back to 1976. Little James is at his I'm assuming mother's funeral because the father would probably not get a decent funeral with a good turnout because he's a murder-suicide dude.
But there are 2 coffins.
Oh, there are both.
Yeah.
This is we had to rewind because I was like, what is happening? Because they shut 2 doors from 2 different directions. And I was like,
so they just show you loading in the one.
As they're coming out of the church, it looks like there's just one coffin. Like
and that's
they aren't wide enough to show they're carrying 2 coffins and there must be 2 hearses because they shut 2 doors. And I was like, what is going, why are there 2 doors?
Excellent. Okay. Well, and
then I was like, oh, there must be 2 people. Both of his parents are dead.
Yes. And that's, like I saw the one coffin. I went to go make a note. I probably never saw the second or heard the second door or anything.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just, but it's his parents' funeral, his mom and his dad. Yeah. He explains later what happened, but he starts writing the Sawyer letter. Then Jacob walks up and gives him a pen and touches his hand.
Ew.
And then some pervert comes over and tells him to move on. Probably his uncle.
Yeah. Come on, kid. Get over it.
Yeah, like unless it's established in a different episode who this dude is, I was like, maybe it's his uncle, but like it could just be anybody. Like, is it his fucking caseworker? Because he's an orphan now,
right?
Like,
oh my god.
But yeah, he's got to move on. You've been feeling
your feelings too long.
Let's not wallow here
for 5 whole minutes.
Yeah, you just lost your mom and dad. Come on, kid.
I mean,
put some dirt on those feelings.
Buck up. It's not like you were in the room when it happened.
Come on. We just did an express 2-for-1 funeral. We're saving you the agony of having to do a second funeral. Let's go to Mickey D's and get some nuggets.
Yeah, we didn't even do a service for your dad because he was a fuckwad. So
yeah.
What's done is done. That's why you got to move on, because what's done is done. I think this is the first instance of somebody hearing as a child something that they would later repeat in their adulthood. We go back to 1977. In the interim, Kate has explained the plan to Sawyer and Juliet, what they're planning to do. They're going to use the bomb, create the incident, and hit the reset. They're going to go back to a point in time in which 815 did not crash on the island and just proceeded to Los Angeles.
Yes.
But how does that work by resetting the timeline? How do you change the outcome? That's a point that I didn't understand.
And this is just speculation. Maybe it's explained in another episode. If you use a nuclear device to destroy the magnet fart in 1977, not only does that send the people who do not belong in 1977 back to their place into 2004, but the bomb itself will destroy the pocket that will later in 2004 cause the crash in the first place. So we found out in a season 2 or 3 episode that Desmond was away from the button at the time of the plane crash. And the built up energy is what caused 815 to break in half midair and crash on the island.
Got it.
Yes. So if the swan never exists in the first place, 815 can't be torn apart by the...
And the swan is the fart.
Yes.
Got it.
See? No problem. Swan is fart.
I was trying to figure what the fuck a swan was.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was not a bird in this situation.
I think it was about when like the bomb got there. It's like, oh, they're taking it to the swan, which is the drill. Got it. Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
They got to use a whole nuclear bomb to kill one bird? How big is this fucking bird?
I can't wait to see the budget they put into this giant bird.
Juliet's like, you've convinced me.
Yeah, sold. I'll change my entire life's path for this.
And so they bust loose. Some guy comes over to give them orange juice. They do the old, we're breaking out, and they break out.
She grabs him by the collar and pulls him in close and then goes past her and hits his head on the table or whatever. But for the couple of frames where she was just like pulling him close, I just wrote, because... Hi, Elizabeth Mitchell. This is JP from podcast Lost on Lost. I know I'm engaged and you're probably married, but what up, girl?
They destroy the radio because the captain's like, I'm going to call somebody. And he's like...
Oh, this is where Chris and I were like, you're shooting a lot of guns on a submarine.
Yeah, a pressurized submarine!
I was really worried for people's safety when Sawyer's just like, fuck your piece of technology.
It would have been great if it would have caused a small hole. And he's just going to like plug it with his finger the whole time.
Well, you know what they say about dikes.
Oh, God. So demands to surface the sub and let the 3 of them out.
Great.
Cool. Cut back to the bomb cave. Saeed's finishing to pull out the core. Richard asks Jack about Locke. He's like, what's up? You know Locke? Like, Jacob told me Jacob told me to go check him out. And honestly, pretty mid as a child. Like, not Not capital S special, which is what we're looking for here.
No cap. Pretty mid.
Yeah, pretty mid, exactly.
Not lit.
No Riz.
No Riz. That kid had 0 Riz.
And Jack's like, dude, don't give up on him. He's an
tenacious.
He's an integral part of the timeline, and while not necessarily important at the end game, in the mid game, he will be a factor. So don't give up on him. Flock asks Ben why Ben hasn't snitched on him. Ben is compelled to follow Locke unquestioningly by a vision from his dead daughter.
Guess Alex doesn't make it. Maybe she didn't make the flight to the island.
I'll pretend I know what's going on here.
There's a wood nymph that's really concerned with Kate's dress that's now dead.
She's amazing. She has an on-again, off-again thing with Carl, and I think that it's the best representation of pure first love that I've ever seen in my whole life.
Carl's also whacked out on DMT, so he's not sure if she's real or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Allie, I'm going to need you to fucking get up to speed on this.
Okay, be right back. Gonna watch 5 seasons of a show that came out 20 years ago.
No, you've had plenty of time.
I thought you were going to sass him.
This is great for me.
Everybody else.
I'm fucking set.
Me and JP are just out here catching strays. Like, this was our idea.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
girl.
before we watched the episode, I was like, I'm going to take notes.
Yeah.
You know me. I'm a note taker. And I was like,
Yeah.
is there anything I need to know about like the structure of this podcast? Because
And
he's
Chris
like,
said, nope.
no, he's like, you haven't listened to it? I was like, no, because if I listen to it, then I know things about the show. And I thought the whole idea of bringing me on, I have literally never seen. I know nothing about this show. I'm going in blind. I'm going in a little too blind, it feels like.
No, you're fine.
But yeah.
You're doing great.
He was like, you haven't listened, like, yeah. And then
How many
spoilers for like the whole show. If I listen to the episode,
I couldn't fight the logic.
podcast.
How many episodes of the show have you listened to, Chris?
Every single one.
I feel like you're lying.
Subscribe.
He's so
like.
lying.
I'm sure you're
Subscribe and like.
I'm sure you're subscribed. Are you listening?
Yeah, especially the episodes I'm on.
I don't even listen to every episode.
No, I probably hit up like 75%, to be honest.
I mean, it's totally fine.
Anyways, Locke tells Ben he's going to kill Jacob.
Yeah, and now that he knows that Ben will do anything he tells him, he's just like, yeah, well, you're going to do it. This is way easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have to convince you, but you're just going to do it? Okay.
I don't even have to hit you with the sphincter says what.
Now go get me a juice.
And suck on my toes.
Ooh. All right, now we're talking.
We're going to flash back real quick to a portion of time in L.A. where
It's definitely not LA.
yeah, absolutely
LA
not.
doesn't. Yeah.
Absolutely not LA, but it's LA.
Like, sure, if you say this is La Brea, we'll believe this is La Brea.
For a split second, I looked at it. I was like, did they actually shoot this in LA? And then it like panned ever so slightly. I was like, oh no, that's Honolulu.
Yeah.
But yeah, Saeed and Nadia could talk about childhood sweethearts just out for a little walk. I think they're heading to a restaurant or something like that. They're a little turned around. No, that happens. LA can be, there's a lot of different neighborhoods, a lot of different places, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I think it's this way. I think it's this way. Then they run into another gentleman that's lost. And he's like, hey, Saeed, stranger,
You.
come on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to get to the crossroads
Santa
of the
Monica
world.
Pier.
Can you point me onto this map? And then Nadia,
just gets fucking smoked.
Tasted.
she does something that nobody should do, which is stop in the middle of a crosswalk.
Take her eyes off of traffic entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at me. Look at me.
I'm not blaming her. She was not protecting herself as a pedestrian.
You can victim blame this one, I think.
Well, no, because this person that pounded into her with the car, it seemed like they had some intent. Because they
right.
fucking
They-
Yeah.
lit her
If
up.
she thinks she's safe to cross the street, that person clearly has a red light and they are going about 50 miles an hour down a like residential street.
Yeah. And then after the car pancakes her, just like takes off.
He's off.
It's just like gone.
Now that was very LA-esque.
Yeah.
That
exactly.
very much felt
Except
like
for the
LA.
fact that there's no other cars around in the
Yeah,
middle of
that's
the
true.
day. That this car can just like speed down La Brea. Sure, let's believe that.
It was really good.
But yeah, the running away part, very LA.
Yeah.
The thing that killed me, like we've seen Nadia before and we know like Nadia and Saeed's past, but we haven't ever seen that they like found each other again and got back together. And I was so like, oh my God, Saeed's happy. I love my sweet Saeed boy. And then as soon as she's like stopped in the middle of the road, I was like, no.
I was a little confused as to when this was supposed to be happening.
Yeah, I don't
because
know.
I was under the impression, based on that episode that we saw a while back, in which Saeed infiltrated the terrorists in Sydney, that he and Nadia did not know where each other were.
That must have happened after this.
But it
and
can't happen after that because he stays in Sydney an extra day to get Assam a proper burial, taking a later flight, which puts him on 8:15. So he is never reunited with Nadia after the Sydney terrorist sleeper cell plot thing. So were Saeed and Nadia married at some point before this? I thought that,
And in LA?
that's the thing that I got a little bit confused about that. And I was like, when is this supposed to have happened?
I don't know. Now my brain hurts and I think I just shit myself.
Because the original stuff I remember about Saeed was in Afghanistan?
Iraq.
Yeah. How could you get those two confused? What are you, a U.S. Senator? Oh!
Dick Cheney's just like, got another one.
Got him.
That was a quail, I swear. But yeah.
What the fuck are we talking about? Oh yeah,
Saeed.
Nadia got creamed by a car.
That was sad.
really
That was
sad.
Come back to 1977, the bomb cave. Eloise, Richard, Jack, Saeed head out there using the tunnels. There's a system of tunnels. They break through a wall. So there's this large triangular rock that obviously is...
Oh yeah, where I was like, I love how he's like
Feeling around.
feeling around. I was like, I wonder if it's the one that doesn't look anything like the other ones.
I watch Legends of the Hidden Temple. I know how to find this shit.
I expected him to just like, I'm gonna push this one and it's all gonna open up. And he's like, okay, no, this is where we hit it because that's where set deck made it.
Whenever there's a
Hittable.
rock that looks like that, there's something behind it. And whenever there's a waterfall, there's secret treasure behind it. These are
And
just
blue
the rules.
barracudas for the win.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So yeah, Richard uses a sledgehammer to break through this section of the wall, and it's a basement of one of the houses in the barracks. And they're like, all right, we're gonna go up there. And they're like, you can go up there. They're looking for you. Eloise is like, I'll take care of this. I'm in charge. She's kind of cunty about it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's her deal. She's not necessarily their friend. They're
Sure. Yeah, I
They're
kind
just-
of got that vibe.
They have mutual interests, but they're not allied necessarily. But Richard's like, yeah, go check it out. Clonk.
Clank. How's your brain bleed feeling?
Does if you're pregnant and you get a concussion, can that affect the baby?
I think it's fine. I think that make the baby stronger. I think,
Baby's got to fight for its life more.
I think-
Survivor.
As my totally unprofessional opinion, you get concussed, but you're feeding the baby with the rest of your body. You're just more
Yeah.
concussed.
Less.
Less, way less blood going to your brain.
Yeah,
What
that's
if
fair. That's
her
fair.
getting pistol whipped is what made the kid so smart?
That would 100% be how head injuries work on Lost, because we've talked about this in the past. There have been 56 separate head injuries.
Like 40 of them are Saeed.
40 of them are Saeed, and only 2 of them have any lasting negative consequences, and 3 of them actually have positive consequences.
yeah.
So
Good.
Yeah.
How many people could speak French after an injury?
He was a real Gronk baby, and then all of a sudden now he's a physicist or whatever.
Saeed's the one guy with CTE on the island. It's just like, shit.
yeah, he says, I'm protecting our leader. So in the 70s, Eloise must be the leader of the hostiles, because Richard's a hostile, Saeed's a hostile technically.
A hot stole.
Nice.
Whoa.
Nice.
Whoa.
And so he's like, all right, well, I'm going to drag her back to somewhere to protect her. You guys can take the bomb and do your thing.
Have fun. Bye.
Yep.
Also, where's he planning to go? I was just, again, like, if this bomb goes off,
Right.
Where
Like,
do you
if this is going to reset the timeline, what's it like? What is it? Just hang out.
just hang out, watch the show,
Go up into the house, grab a snack, turn on the
right?
tube. I don't
Leave
know.
the lady there.
Yeah. just
Yeah, go have
relax
some
a little.
Go-Gurt.
Yeah. They go out into the thing. There's like it's like somebody like stepped on an anthill. Like people just running around outside. People are shouting like, "Oh my God, the hostiles! It's an incursion!"
It felt like I was playing Call of Duty in the Nuketown map because there's just houses
Oh,
and people
yeah, yeah,
everywhere
yeah,
and
yeah.
shooting. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I hope JP's counting bullets.
Yep.
Always. I wanted him to be like, will you hide in plain sight? I really wanted him to do the like 2 guys in a big trench coat
Yes.
thing. Like, don't mind me. I'm just the largest Roger Workman you've ever seen.
Jack looks out there and he's like, "How are we going to get through that? We'll hide in plain sight." He was already wearing a jumpsuit. He
already
didn't have
wearing
to put
one.
on a disguise.
Saeed's like, I'm already half dressed. Let's just fucking go.
Yeah, like Jack's like, "How are we gonna do this?" Like Saeed's like, "Zip."
What do you think?
What are you doing? Like, let's go. But the problem was Saeed's jumpsuit says Saeed Hostile on the pocket.
Do not trust on the back.
Yeah, Target. Okay, so like they sneak through the barracks. They get about 40 feet.
And then it's Radzinski, right? That season?
It's fucking
it's fucking Roger.
Roger Workman.
Oh, yeah.
Roger Linus.
Yep. I don't know how he was able to pick out who anybody was because he's got to be about 4 beers deep because it's about 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
But he's like, hey, it's that guy who shot my son. And Jack's like, hey, let me talk to you.
Yeah. What initially caught his eye was, hey, there's a guy with dark skin. And I said, wait a second. I know that. Dark skin.
Yeah. So yeah, Roger Saeed's like, I'm sorry. He puts his hands up. Roger just shoots him, and that's fine with me. Like honestly, like yes, Roger is right. Saeed did shoot Roger's child son.
Yeah.
Child son, yeah.
There was that announcement being like, hey, everybody make sure you got your guns and shoot the intruders if you see them.
Prepare for the security protocol. Everybody grab your fucking Glock and your... What are the rifles that everybody's carrying around?
Mini 14s.
Yeah, Mini 14s.
Or an SKSs.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody's armed. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's panicking because the guy in charge of security is Phil. After Roger spots and shoots Saeed from 35, 40 feet away with a rifle.
Hawkeye.
Yeah. Jack just starts one-handed, like...
just pecking off any person he sees.
Yeah. Jack immediately kills
This is
somebody.
how we'll get out of here. I'm going to cause chaos.
And I'm going to do it one-handed from rifle distance away. Pow.
Yes.
This little gunfight was kind of cool. Like,
yeah, I didn't mind it.
All right. But yeah, Jack kills 2 people one-handed. I wrote that down.
Jack kills people one-handed.
But then Jin and Miles and Hurley pull up with a Dharma van and rescue Saeed and Jack.
Hurley in the van.
Yep.
Yeah, Miles is there, Jin's there, and they peel off.
Cut to where the submarine once was. Kate and Sawyer and Juliet are rowing a little inflatable raft back to the island as the submarine.
Some sort of raft that Allie probably can't even help us with.
I was like, how did they pop this raft out of the submarine? Like, I don't know how submarines work, but I assume it's like a little hatch that they crawl, and it's like, where'd they get the raft from?
They shot him out of a torpedo bay.
They're all perfectly dry. Like, there was no mishaps getting into this raft from a submarine.
Fair point.
I really want to watch Hunt for Red October again.
One ping only, Michelle.
They get onto the thing and they're like, where the fuck are we? I have no idea. And then Vincent runs out of the tree.
Vincent pops up. Man, we've seen Vincent in a spell.
And Sawyer delivers the most expository line in the whole episode. God. Oh my God, Vincent, I haven't seen you since the Flaming Arrows 3 years ago. Well, thank you for all that information. That was not what a person would say.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh shit, it's Vincent.
Oh shit, it's Vincent. Yeah, where's that real take?
And then up at the tree line.
Hell yeah.
Rose and Bernard.
That was great.
This chronologically would be a much bigger hit back in the day because it would have been a long, long time since anybody has seen Rose and Bernard. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this was a big reveal when we first see that because Rose and Bernard got separated from them a long time ago.
And they never cared to find anybody else. They're just like, we're on our own and it's better without Jack fucking around.
Kind of their whole jam.
Exactly.
Right.
They're like, the reason we've been able to live this happy and simple life is because we've opted out. Anytime we see the Hostiles or the Dharma Initiative or whatever, we just turn and walk the other way. Mm-hmm. They said in this scene, one of them's Kate, so it's Juliet, who was like, well, Jack's going to do this thing and we're all going to die or whatever. And Bernard's like, so we'll die. We only care about being together. It's the only thing that matters in the end. Rose and Bernard's relationship, wonderfully written and so important.
Yeah.
I think this might actually be the last time we get to see them for a while.
Really?
If we don't see them again, I don't think anybody would be unhappy with this having been the last time we saw them.
Yeah.
And so they're happy. The two of them, their little camp, Vincent, they've been sitting there for the last 3 years while everybody else has been clowning around with the Dharma Initiative, and they're perfectly happy.
That's fine.
Yeah, and it's totally fine with them. So Rose is like, yeah, go do your thing. We're not helping.
Right. Have fun, y'all.
Yeah. But yeah, so then from Rose and Bernard's camp, we come back to 2007, back to the jungle. Alana's group, they arrive at Jacob's cabin. This is the first time we've ever seen the cabin during the day. It's a little weird.
Kind of upsetting. Not nearly as ominous.
It's just a shitty little cabin.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, all right, well. But there's like a circle of ash around it, which we've seen before, but now there's like the circle's been broken. So there's a little path of ash that's no longer there, which seems to be a problem.
Yeah, sinister in some way. We have a flashback to a Russian hospital.
Yeah.
Alana is there. She's covered in bandages, and Jacob shows up, and he's like, "Will you help me?" And she's like, "Sure." Yeah. And then
whatever.
That's it.
Yeah.
We come back to the cabin.
Yeah. She finds some loom work. Allie, what'd you think of that loom work?
There's some good color work in there. Yeah. Some nice images. Yeah.
Agreed. She finds this note stabbed to the wall, and she gets the impression that the cabin is tainted in some way, so she's like, fucking burn it!
Burn it to the ground!
And then Brom's like, what's up? And she's like, I think we know where we need to go.
Frank is even like, isn't that a really good way to set the jungle on fire? And then I was like, how the fuck did they film this without setting the jungle on fire?
Yes.
He's got a really good point.
We were also like, this is definitely a real fire. Yeah. And like, how did they get permits to just like, we're going to light up a whole freaking house.
Under a tree. Yeah. Cut over to Flock's group. They arrive at Survivor Beach.
Looking like the day they built it.
Home sweet home.
Son finds her the cradle.
It's Claire's cradle.
Claire's cradle, yeah.
For Little Onion Head.
That's where Charlie used to sleep, is in that cradle.
The ring that she finds in the crib belonged to Charlie. Charlie had left it there for the baby. And so she was picked up this ring.
Locke fucking tells everybody, all right, we're going to get there by nightfall. Everybody better have some rest right now because I'm going to put you through some bullshit later. I was like, whoa. Jeez. All right, my dude. But he sits down and has a very interesting conversation with Ben.
Yeah.
Where I was like, damn, Locke's spitting bars over here. Like, he's kind of making some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was my like, this is like the Thanos moment for Locke.
Yeah.
Like, the bad guy's making a lot of sense.
Right. Like, I absolutely agree with what he's saying. He's basically like, hey, Jacob treated you like like you dedicated your life to this island and to Jacob. You never even got to see him. Your daughter fucking died. Like, you've just been beat up. Why are you so fucking loyal to this guy that's literally never given a shit about you? Mm-hmm. And Ben's like, yeah, okay.
Good point.
Where's the knife?
I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah. Do you have 14 guns or 900 knives that I could borrow real quick? Just Flock out here making a lot of sense. We have a flashback to Sun and Jin's wedding. Oh my garage. This is adorable. Jin has on a very nice suit and a very ridiculous wig.
Yeah.
It was a gorgeous venue, though.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
Beautiful.
No idea in Hawaii where that is.
Was it just 100% Nagarita? My favorite part about all the places in this episode that are supposed to be not Hawaii always have mountains in the background, and the peaks of the mountains are always obscured by clouds.
Right.
It's like, there are mountains near Los Angeles, but they're not high enough to always be obscured by clouds. It's not humid enough here for it always to be this hanging cloudscape. So it's like, if you're trying to make us believe that these places aren't Hawaii, don't show the mountains.
Stop showing the mountains.
Maybe shoot in the other direction.
Yeah.
Where, like,
just point the camera the other way.
It's not like surrounded by mountains. You can find a shot that doesn't have mountains.
Because it's like the way it's designed is like it's sort of just like a mountain that sticks up out of the ocean.
Right.
And if you look toward the ocean, you don't see the mountain.
We're not stuck in a caldera, for God's sakes.
Oh man.
Jacob's there and he impresses everyone with that he speaks perfect Korean.
Very good Korean. Yeah, his Korean is excellent. Gives them their blessing, touches them both on the arms. It's like, I give you my blessing. Very nice. And thanks, bud.
Your souls are mine now.
Yeah, exactly. Don't touch me.
Don't touch.
Come back to 77, the van. Saeed is dying. Not going to be able to stop that bleeding. He's been shot too much this time. He's been shot before, but this one...
this one was a real shot.
This one was a real doozy.
It's not the cool... getting shot that's like just in the corner of the shoulder that's like, oh, it's a through and through, it's fine. This is into his guts. It's real bad.
They need to get to the site of the incident or it'll all be for nothing. So Saeed, I think at this point says, I'll rig the bomb to explode on impact. All you gotta do is throw it. Like, I can do that.
Which seems safe in a van going through the jungle.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. They are stopped suddenly by like the lamest checkpoint in the history of time. When the shot cut over to Kate and Sawyer and Juliet in the middle of the road, I haven't been that furious in like a really long time.
I was like, run over Kate and then pull up to Sawyer and Juliet and be like, hey, guys, get in the van.
Oh, hi, guys.
It's like, why did you stop? Just keep going.
For how the scene goes, they might as well have just hung out the window, been like, hey, change your minds. Okay, we'll see you.
Yeah, right?
And they're like, yeah, okay, we'll catch up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll run behind.
And that is the end of the incident part one.
Yeah.
The great thing about this is that the first scene of part 2 of this episode is just the next part of this scene. It's the second half of the scene. Sawyer wants 5 minutes to talk. My only note here is in all caps. Saeed is bleeding to death.
You got 5 minutes now? Oh, I got all the time in the world. Saeed's like, what the fuck?
Saeed's like, I can bleed out anywhere, guys. This is great. Sure.
Jackson, you just said I can't do anything.
Yeah. What do you want, Saeed? Shut up.
We cut to a flashback. Jack's first major procedure at St. Sebastian's Hospital
Trying to kill people with one hand again.
Under the watchful eye of Christian Liquid Lunch Shepherd.
Hey.
He nicked the dural sac, which I don't think you're supposed to do. Hypothetically, parallels.
And is not where the Duracells are kept. I had to learn.
Jesus.
Thanks for coming on the show, Chris.
Hey, I got jokes.
There's this method to controlling fear that is kind of a neat thing. I don't know if Chris and Allie, you're aware. JP and I, this is a tactic that we use in our everyday lives to manage the fear that we face on an everyday basis, sort of the collapse of our society, post-capitalism.
Scream at your son?
No. All you have to do is just close your eyes and count to 5.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be fine.
Out loud.
I always feel better when I scream at my son.
I feel so much better when I scream at anybody's son, really. Pick a son. I'll scream at him.
Christian says you can't fix this if you're scared. So count to 5. And it'll be fine. The thing is he doesn't explain to him the concept of letting the fear be part of you for 5 seconds, because this is one of the first things that we had Jack ever talk about in the pilot. He talked about this is how you deal with it. You count to 5, close your eyes, let the fear in, embrace the fear, but only for 5 seconds.
Right.
And once you've done that, you have to be done with it. Move on.
Get back to being gangster.
So I just wanted to go on record here that I thought that this flashback was sort of poorly written.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Also, it's interesting that, like, in the telling of this story in the pilot episode, Jack omits the fact that his daddy was there, you know. He's like, you better fix it or I'm going to have to. Be like, oh, cool, so I got some backup. Thanks, you do it. I'm going to lunch.
Yeah, I think that's what I wrote, because you're my father. And it's like, that does seem like a big conflict of interest. Like, I don't know that a hospital board would let you hire your son in such a close capacity.
Yes.
He's a Nepo baby.
You're 100% on the
Like,
ball
you
there.
could definitely like write a recommendation and get him in at another hospital, but maybe not be like directly in the room with him constantly and controlling like every surgery.
But if Jack wanted to get a residency at a hospital in Los Angeles, he would have to do it at St. Sebastian's because that's the only hospital in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, that's very realistic.
Funny how I've never realized living in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles Hospital.
They only have that one hospital.
Yeah, LA Hospital.
So yeah, after the surgery, Jack's beating himself up a little bit, goes to buy a little Apollo bar, a little sugar, he'll get a little jolt. Doesn't work, so he fucking Khabibs the machine and walks off.
Not before being like, Dad, y'all let me in front of my friends. God.
You wouldn't have said anything. They wouldn't have known.
I could have killed that kid, but fine.
I want to nick the dural sac. I want to practice my sutures and karate in the garage.
I don't need you to believe in me, but I need them to believe in me, which is sort of like a thing about what Jack's future will be like.
Yeah.
But then Christian hits him with the fucking, I don't think I'm the one who doesn't believe in you.
Ooh.
You gotta believe in yourself there, kiddo.
I mean, I definitely don't.
Have
but...
a little, yeah, I mean, I certainly, yeah, you're right. I certainly don't, but it doesn't matter if I don't. You gotta believe in yourself. Come on. Have a little positive self-talk, gas yourself up a little bit.
Anyways, Jacob gives him the Mars bar or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, Jacob shows up.
Hits him. Here's another little heavy-handed thing which just reinforces my premise that this scene is poorly written. Jacob's last words to him is, I guess it just needed a little push. Shut the fuck up.
Pushing my fucking patience.
Yeah,
fucking Hughes and Lindelof.
Cut to 1977, the jungle. We got a little 5-minute break. Saeed, I'm sure we'll be fine.
He's fine.
Sawyer.
She just had screams coming from the van for the whole conversation.
Sawyer tells Jack what happened with his parents.
And Jack's just kind of like, that's fucked up.
Could have happened before now. They spend some time together.
I mean, they are friends in a sense. They've had a conversation in the past where like Sawyer considers Jack to be the closest thing to a friend he might actually have. Some time has gone by since then, so
Sure.
I would like to think that Miles and Jin and Hurley are his friends now, and whatever. But at the time, Jack was really Sawyer's only friend. This is where Sawyer sort of talks about the causality loop paradoxical thing. He tells that story to Jack to tell him that was recent,
Right.
Where they're sitting now in the timeline.
Yeah.
He could have
Stopped it.
Gone
could have
back.
stopped it.
Yeah.
But he didn't, because when he was at the funeral the first time, that weird pervert told him what's done is done.
Right.
He said after he assaulted me, "What's done is done, kid."
But basically, like, don't go making waves. I've got it. Like, I could have changed stuff. You shouldn't go changing stuff because I like it here. Well, I liked it here before you showed up.
Right.
But
Everything was fine until you came and started fucking my shit up.
Yeah.
But Jack says, and we finally get down to the heart of it. Jack wants to undo the A-15 crash because in the interim, while he and Kate were members of the Oceanic Six, two of the people that had been rescued from the island, they were together and then they split up. And he wants to forget that ever happened because it hurts too much. He was in love with her, he probably still is, and he can't live with the pain of that. So if he could just go back and forget it all happened, everybody'd be fine, everybody'd be safe, and he could continue to be the person he was back then. He doesn't realize that he now is a much better person than he was then for having gone through all the pain and torture and ups and downs of having been on the island, having gotten off all this stuff. His self-awareness hasn't risen to the point where he's grown as a person, not in spite of everything that's happened to him,
because
but because of it.
Listen, we've all dealt with heartbreak, and it's terrible, and it's awful, and it feels like shit. I've never considered detonating a thermonuclear device and undoing the space-time continuum because of heartbreak.
Did you know that was an option, though?
It's always an option.
It usually doesn't get that far. I mean, like, you put away a half a bottle of Bushmills and kind of things start to get better.
Yeah.
You don't deserve Bushmills through a breakup. You get Gordons.
I said this is the Gincident.
The Gincident? Yeah.
They start to fight.
Yeah. Sawyer's like, you're not going to stop, are you? And Jack's like, no. And so, yeah, they just start to pound on each other.
Just haymakers.
Yeah, pretty nice little fist fight. Juliet comes in, stops them, and she's like, I changed my mind.
I hated this so much.
So dumb.
They have neutered Juliet. I loved Juliet when she was like mad scientist bad bitch. And now she's just kind of like,
What are we thinking, guys?
yeah, like, I don't know what her deal is. And they got her in that like pink shirt with the frilly sleeves, and I'm just like, what have they done to my sweet like warrior princess? Like, I just don't know. She's like, I changed my mind. This also coincidentally is 8 minutes in, and it is now the cold open when she shows up. 8 minutes into this fucking episode. When she's like, I changed my mind, let's fucking nuke them.
Yeah.
Great.
The lost card comes up and we flash back to the thing that will explain why she changed her mind. Juliet's parents got a divorce when she was a child, and her parents said just because two people love each other doesn't necessarily mean they're supposed to be together forever. And Juliet's like, that's dumb. And then she runs away, and then that's the kind of the end of the flashback.
Which then she agrees with as an adult and immediately changes her worldview.
Well, her rationale is, if I don't ever meet you, then I never have to lose you?
She has the same rationale as Jack. Her and Jack don't ascribe to the whole it's better to have loved and lost than never loved at all. They don't.
Right.
They believe that, no, the other one's better.
But aren't she and Sawyer still together?
Well, no, because she breaks up with him right here.
Right here.
But because he looked at Kate, like, okay, if a woman
saw
I
how
once
you
slept
looked at
with
her.
just showed up in the jungle.
Don't look at other women. Never look at another woman. If you're married or you have a girlfriend, never look at another woman. You're not allowed. Over, done. Especially one that you used to have a crush on. It's
Right,
just going to
Allison?
cause shit.
Right?
What? Like,
Yeah, like you said, JP, very neutering. They've turned Juliet into what used to be a very strong, independent, rational thinking person into
A plot device.
sort of a jealous, sort of stereotypical, like,
Emotionally, like, just like, I'm mad that you looked at your ex. Like,
yeah,
what?
It's just a little soap opera-y.
Mhm.
And yeah, maybe in character for a different character, but not for Juliet. I don't know.
No, Juliet, if she really was upset with Kate, she could just beat her up. She's way tougher than Kate.
Just pound her. It wouldn't be the first time she pounded her.
Right.
I feel like I had that thought when I was like, why are the women not throwing punches? Like, they seem like pretty strong women,
Yeah.
and all they do is kind of
Yeah.
stand around and complain about
The men.
That's a
who
lie.
likes
Kate
who?
just gives
Like
Jack a
it's
dirty
very
look.
high school.
Yeah. Like Jack and Sawyer are pounding each other over in the clearing.
Yeah, they are.
Saeed is dying, and Jin and Miles and Hurley are just watching him die. And then Kate and Juliet are over it by like, so do you like him or like him?
Allie's on my corner of the internet. Women punching each other.
I'm just saying, if I was on this island,
Somebody would
Yeah.
regardless of whatever fucking love triangle they're going on, I wouldn't be afraid to punch someone.
That's right. Allie's all about equal rights and lefts.
No, that's the name of the episode.
Equal rights, equal lefts.
Love it. Sawyer calls Juliet on her flip flop. I'm like, what the fuck? You were just
Yeah.
all in and now, and then she's like, you looked at Kate. You shouldn't be looking at Kate. Come on, don't perv the dish. And he's like, yeah, I looked at her. Big fucking deal. And she's like, but she
My
says,
ex just showed up in the jungle. That's weird.
yeah. Oh, look at the trees. I can't look over there. She doesn't want to live with losing Sawyer, and that's the big thing. We cut over to the Swan site. They're about the drill is about to reach the energy source. Phil radios over that the hostile got rescued by some of the other recruits, proving that Chang was right, and they are in the middle of an insurrection.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, Radzinski's like, well, fucking get over here with a bunch of guns
Bring
because
some dudes, bring some guns.
yeah, those dudes got a bomb. So get over here and we're gonna fucking do some science.
Bring some guns to a bomb fight. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
What could go wrong?
always fine.
Jack is observing the site. Kate comes over to check in. Do you remember the time we did? They just kind of talk about why they're doing it. They reiterate what the scoop is in case I guess you haven't watched season 5.
Well, it didn't help me either way.
Oh, we haven't.
Yeah, exactly. But the drill is about to hit the thing, so it's go time. The ticking clock is about to tick.
Yeah.
We cut to a flashback. This flashback is only like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So this flashback is in 2007. This flashback is to a time after 815, but before 316.
Oh yeah, I was finally starting to like piece together what was happening when.
Yeah.
And then this one kind of threw me for a loop. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
this
was
one's
like,
tough.
I was, making my Jacob jokes about like he's just like collecting these people's souls all over the timeline. And then
Yeah.
he's like, okay, hop in my cab so I can like mark you for my cursed plane. And then I was like, wait, this is a different plane crash? Like what?
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, I finally figured it out. And then I was like, no.
Allie's like, there's multiple plane crashes and I didn't get to see any of them? What the
I was
fuck?
like, okay, I knew there was one plane crash. I've seen 0, but you're talking about 2.
They just keep showing me all these sea-bearing vessels that I don't know shit
I
about.
don't know nothing about boats.
Yes, the flashback to a time in 2007. Just did you say 24 hours before the flight? The flight
Yeah,
leaves in
24
Something like
hours.
that,
It's
yeah.
a day before the plane crash, which would bring the survivors back to the island, Ajira 316. He gives him a flight info and touches his arm. He leaves behind a guitar case. It's not my guitar. It's not my guitar either. It was in the cab already when I got here. I don't know. I really hope that there isn't really like something really dumb inside the guitar case, like a huge onk for whatever reason.
It's fucking Locke's body.
It's not the rest of his tapestry
Yeah.
in that one little corner that he left in the cabin.
We come back to 77 to the van. Jack retrieves the bomb from Saeed.
Who's doing great.
Yeah, he's totally
He's
fine.
totally fine.
Grabs the bomb. It has now been rigged to detonate on impact.
Wasn't it kind of the whole time? Which is like, I feel like you should be more careful than just like running around through a gunfight. But
I feel like that's the type of thing that you don't have to rig for impact. If
Yeah.
you're too ungentle with it, it'll just blow.
It's a bomb.
Yeah.
It's a bomb core.
It's so funny because it's like we had to be so careful with the dynamite. Like if you touch the dynamite too wrong, it'll just blow up. And Jack's running around with a nuke in his backpack that will go off on the impact of it hitting the ground. And he's fucking ducking and diving and jumping and getting into
Yeah,
gunfights.
doing
Like,
cartwheels through the jungle.
I think this might have been where I was like, I don't know how bombs work. I haven't seen Oppenheimer. And then Chris was like, that movie with like Nicolas Cage on I was like, The Rock? And then he went on this rock tangent. And I was like, I don't know. I haven't seen The
Made
Rock.
sure to pause the episode,
Like,
but then I went into a little
It was
bit about
literally
The
a
Rock.
whole
And then we
tangent
watched The Rock
of him
and then
being
came
like,
back.
describing things that happened in The Rock. And I was like, I haven't seen this movie. Why are you trying
That
to?
movie's amazing.
it's so fucking good.
Chris would have really been a lot more excited if you guys were there while we were watching. He went on this rock tangent. Clearly,
I was performing for an audience of 0. It was awful.
When you guys leave here, go home and watch The Rock. Like, it's actually a very entertaining movie.
It's very entertaining.
It's got a boat in it.
Your favorite. Toot toot. I know my girl. She loves boats and other seafaring vessels.
This is like, you know, the meme where they talk about like, I mentioned I like a thing, and then that's all the gifts I get for the rest of my life. Like now it's gonna be like, yeah, she loves boats.
This is way better than when I tried to convince you didn't like cake.
Also true.
Yeah.
I took Allie on the California ferry for our 15th anniversary because she loves boats. I don't love boats.
I'm like, what?
Well, I know you don't like cake.
What did I insinuate? I like boats. I said I didn't know anything about boats.
Honey, it's our 20th wedding anniversary. I got this special bottle of wine for you. If there's a ship in that bottle, I'm going to fucking kill you.
I drank the wine so I could give you this empty one with a ship in it. Sweetie.
Oh, good. On his way to the Swan Station looking like a half-ass Ghostbuster, he passes Juliet.
That's what I said. Look at this broke-ass Ghostbuster running through the jungle. Proton pack, motherfucker.
Plus, it makes me feel good.
I'm sure Jack sings that.
Yeah, he doesn't have the proton wand. He's just got a Glock.
I mean,
Well, no,
I'm
he's-
digging it now.
We come back to the present, 2007. My only note is they reached the statue,
Yeah.
Which is now just the foot.
which is just the
Yes. The most important part.
We don't mind sucking on toes.
That's really on brand for Russell. Saw that foot, immediately got hard.
Oh my God, I'm harder than that heel.
I was on a plane and the fucking pilot was like, we're passing over 10,000 feet. And I was like, thank God I got a window seat.
So many. Happy Feet was a really different movie for JP.
I watched the Barefoot Contestant. I was like, when does this start to get good?
Everybody, real quick, let's talk about why this is your favorite flashback.
It's so fucking good.
We cut to a flashback. Jacob,
This is Jack Bender doing some fucking work.
this is Jacob sitting on a bench. Reading Flannery O'Connell novel, and I for a while I was just looking at how he was dressed, and in my head I was like, I just realized I want to dress like
Jacob.
and I wasn't happy with that realization because I was like, oh man, look at those little, he's got like brown chuckers on, some nice jeans, just brown jacket.
It's dripping in swagoo.
I was like, why do I want to dress like a middle-aged man? And I was like,
Oh.
fuck,
Oh.
I am a middle-aged man.
Sheesh.
Guess that makes sense. Anyway, wouldn't it be funny if a body hit the ground behind him?
It's so nonchalant. Like he's like, oh, all right, I gotta put my bookmark in. I gotta go talk to Locke. I gotta pick up my dry cleaning. I got what else do I gotta do today? It's so
to
just
do
like
today.
part of his routine.
It's very like, oh, the bus is here. I gotta go. That's what I've been waiting for.
Right on schedule. Right on schedule. Right when I thought it was gonna happen.
Couldn't have like put a pillow down there or something for him to land on?
No.
A whoopee cushion. Oh, what if he had landed on a whoopee cushion?
But no, what's done is done. Locke had to fall out of the window, and apparently he had to die. So Locke's been dead a couple times because he died. This fall killed him. I remember when we watched this episode in which he got yeeted out of the building. We were like, how did he even survive that? Apparently he didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So Jacob touches him and brings him back to life, and he's like, I'm really sorry this happened.
Oh, sorry, buddy. You want to do that again?
There was no other way for this to happen. Cut back to the foot.
Thank God.
Yes.
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 And Richard's getting a little salty with old Johnny Locke. He's like, Locke's going to walk into the whatever, into the foot, into the heel, and then he's like bringing Ben with him. Richard's like, what the fuck you doing? And he's like, I'm fucking taking Ben. And he's like, well, you can't take him. Only the leader can take him. He's like, hey, nerd, shut up. These sound like arbitrary rules. You're just making the game up as you go along, Richard, so you can win. Get away from me, nerd. If Jacob's got a problem with that, we'll fucking sort it out like men. You sit over there with the rest of the kiddos.
Flock very much treats Richard like a nerd, which he shouldn't because Richard's not a nerd. Richard's amazing. Richard's the best.
This is a Richard Stan account?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so Richard opens the door for them, and Flock and Ben head in.
Take Dorothy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my note says. Locke hands over Dorothy for the kill. But he's like, are you ready to do this? And Ben's like, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then proceeds to take the knife and walk with it just straight out
Yeah.
in the most like...
Unsheath it and just like, I obviously have a knife.
Yeah.
I wonder what I'm going to use this for.
Jacob, look at how big my eyes are and that I have this knife right in front of me. Hi.
Hi.
That's how I walk into every buffet line.
Well, yeah, that's how you stake your claim.
Cut back to 1977. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We've arrived at the Battle of the Swan.
The time for the incident is near.
Miles was wondering, hey, maybe like he causes the thing you're trying to stop.
Right.
And then I'll kind of give him a dumb look, and he's like, "Oh, I'm glad you guys thought this through."
Oh yeah.
It's so perfect.
Miles is
It's
like,
so perfect.
I really bonded with that moment.
Miles is the fucking best. I love him so much.
Miles is quickly, we've only seen a little bit of Miles. He is quickly jumping up the fucking ladder for top tier character of this show.
So good. But yeah, they're hanging out, and then they see Dingling Phil and his goon squad come rolling down the road in their Jeep. The backup's on its way. It's like 4 dudes. Like,
Yeah.
and then they're like, well, we don't want them to stop Jack, I guess, so let's go help Jack. And so they get in the van, and Juliet hits him with the live together, die alone. Make sure you guys slip that one in.
So fucking over that shit.
You gotta say the whole thing, because what it says here, if you don't say the whole thing, it just sounds like live together, then die alone.
Sure.
But if you omit all the, if we don't learn to live together, we're going to die alone. It's like, so like live together, die alone doesn't carry the same.
Yeah, it sounds like a completely different
It's a
philosophy.
it's an entire
different
if we don't learn to live together, we're going to die. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we're going to live together, and Jack's going to go die alone. You're right.
exactly. Yeah. Phil pulls up to the Swan site. He starts placing dudes in pretty great places for them to get shot and fall off of. Hey, you go up on the top of the scaffolding. You go up top of the roof. You go on top of the bridge.
Most video game spots for them to go.
You go stand behind that red explosive barrel. You go stand next to the ammo crate. You go stand next to the
acid barrel, okay?
Yeah.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You go stand next to this weird sign that's been hanging in this guy that says tutorial mission. I don't know.
Shoot here.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Press X to jump.
Oh god. And then
they see Jack and everybody just starts fucking
a
blasting.
gunfight breaks out. It's pretty awesome. Jack again, first shot,
Bam.
40 yards, kills
Dropping.
somebody.
Kate stays in the van the whole time. Hey, Kate, you need to learn the difference between cover and concealment. Car doors are not cover, they are concealment. A bullet will go straight through there. That is just sheet metal.
Where are their rifles? They spent so much time, the survivors on the island, just like accumulating weapons. They always had some rifles on them, and now they only have like pistols. And they're going up against a crew that are fully kitted out with rifles.
Yeah, but does the other crew all have character names?
But, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Obviously, it's television, but, like, how did the fucking crew with the rifles that saw the people coming not win?
I mean, that's how you keep it fresh. You got to flip the script now and then. They ran out of ammo. I don't know.
Jack's just fucking surgical with that 1911. You know what I'm talking
Surgeon
about?
of death.
He's a surgeon. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Chang helps the survivors because he thinks Radzinski's a nerd.
Yeah, I mean, he is.
It's like, yeah, you're right. He's a fucking nerd. Reset the timeline.
Gets him in a headlock, starts shutting everything down. Sawyer comes up and gets Phil in a headlock. He's like, put the gun outside. Everybody starts dropping. And they're like, all right, cool. High fives. We did it. Jack, go ahead. Jack throws the bomb down the shaft. Everybody closes their eyes and waits.
Nothing.
Good thing it was rigged for impact.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
But despite the fact that they shut down the drill, they threw a nuclear device on it. The magnetism pocket thing is not done yet, and so it starts to pop off, sucking all the metal into the hole. It starts collapsing the drill scaffolding. A toolbox hits Jack in the back of the head, which was
None of which sets
very,
off the
very
bomb
funny.
either.
Yeah, none of that sets
None
off
of
the
that.
bomb. Yep.
It's sucking every piece of metal in the joint except for what's her face's belt buckle.
Yeah.
Maybe it's aluminum.
Radzinski and his crew try to drive away, and the Jeep gets
Pulled in.
pulled in.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that was really cool. The whole action sequence here I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah, once everything starts to go to shit, I wasn't really impressed with the gunfight, but
Yeah.
like everything getting pulled into the hole, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this is kind of dope. All practical effects for the most part.
The scaffolding gets pulled down on Dr. Chang's arm and crushes it.
Finally. Well, and Miles yells, "Dad!" And I was like, Does Dr. Chang know that that's his son? Because, like, not only is like, oh shit, I just lost my hand, and then also I have an adult son.
That's how it works. You have to just give up a limb, and then you have a son.
Yeah.
I was so happy when Dr. Chang's arm got crushed because I remember back in the day, a couple episodes ago, we were speculating how Dr. Chang lost his arm, and you and our guest made your guesses, and then you were like, Adam, you should guess. Oh no, you've seen it. And I was gonna be like, I don't know, something about a nuclear bomb.
Also, I'm literally, because I have the episode on as we're talking about it, I'm just repeating the same 10 seconds when Jack gets hit in the head with the toolbox. It's the funniest goddamn thing I've ever seen.
The director's like, we need to do that one more time, Matthew.
One more again.
One more again.
Fucking Phil is gonna try and get a drop on Jimmy LaFleur, but then scaffolding falls on him, and then a bunch of rebar goes through his chest. Ooh.
It's so good.
All the nerds getting lit up. So good. And then this part sucks. A chain gets snagged on Juliet, and then the chain gets pulled in, and Juliet starts to get pulled into the shaft.
Yeah.
That part sucks.
It's real fucked up, real sad.
Yeah.
I think all the actors, they do a real good job with this.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting pretty fucking lots of onions in here, man.
This is the part where I started fucking. I was weeping. That was so sad.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, her character was shit in this episode, so I was like, okay, bye.
Their performances were very.
Yeah, it was a very good.
Heart-wrenching to me. Cut to the statue.
Yeah.
In 2007, Alana's group arrives at the statue. She's like, "Where's Ricardus?" And he's like, "It's just Richard. Nobody calls him Ricardus. This isn't 1860." They do like a little challenge and pass, like what's in the shadow of the statue, and Richard's like, "We are." Alana's like, "Hey, check it out. We've been dragging this huge, oversized crate all over to the island
with precious cargo. Let's just dump it out."
You need to see what's inside here. So,
you want to see it? Kick it open.
Yeah, go ahead and pop open that lid.
Kids won't see a dead body.
Let's take a look at it. Dump that shit out. It's Locke's body. John Locke's corpse, the real John Locke.
But if that's John Locke,
the Locke that we've been following around Flock is an imposter. Oh snap!
They should have given him a mustache or something. Like, isn't there usually like a goatee that goes with the evil version of?
No, because
they put the scar on the other eye.
No, the whole point was that people need to think that, or they thought it was Locke, and it was all mystical and shit. We cut to inside the temple beneath the foot. Here, Flock and Ben come face to face with Jacob,
who's just chilling,
just hanging out. They have a little bit of back and forth. They do whatever.
Ben's like, "You guys fucking know each other?" Like,
then Ben has a little bit of a monologue.
Mm-hmm.
I did all this stuff. He basically just repeats everything that Flock told him out on the thing.
Which I agree with.
Again, he's not wrong.
He basically is giving Jacob an out, like, make it make sense. Like, I know I have a choice. If anyone around here knows I got a choice, it's me. Ben's always out for Ben.
Nobody's ever made me do anything. When I make a decision, it's because I'm doing what I think is best.
He says, "What about me?"
Mm-hmm.
Basically at the culmination of everything, and Jacob's like, "Yeah, what the fuck about you?" And I was
such
like,
a great clapback. Yeah. What about
stab him? Stab him.
It's really interesting having seen Across the Sea already.
Yeah.
Because this little conversation is exactly the conversation that Jacob had with his mother.
Yeah.
What about me? Why was it him? Why were you always choosing somebody else? Why not me? Ben obviously doesn't stab people that often because that's not great stabbing.
No, he's not really good at that. It's effective.
Yeah, he succeeds, but like you could have done that cooler.
I mean, there's like the prison shivving. That's like the
or you give him the hug and be like, oh, it's okay. Then bang, bang, right in the back, right? Like,
yeah. But no, he's just kind of like
all from the elbow, no power. It's like, you put your hip into it.
Even the knife is like, come on, man.
Yeah, Dorothy's like, I got up for this. And you say I never take you anywhere. He collapses, and then Flock kicks Jacob into the fire.
I'm kind of loving all this.
He lights up pretty quick.
He does.
Like his clothes are very flammable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all rayon.
Like,
He's looming with pure rayon. This is a polyester blend, baby.
We cut back to the Swan site from here. The rest of the metal collapses down into the shaft. It's all real fucked up. Jack, Kate, and Sawyer try to get out, whatever. We cut down to the bottom of the shaft. Again, a distance similar to one we saw Locke fall about 5 minutes ago, and that killed him. How come she didn't die?
Being
There's a
pulled
lot of,
by
like,
magnetic force with chains around
broken
her.
up metal down
Right.
there.
Rocks and shit.
Well, we know that
She
floor must be
landed
cushioned.
safely at the bottom of this
There's
pit.
just enough water.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you seen from like, you know, back in the day when those guys would like high dive with a horse like into a 3 inches of fucking pool.
Yeah.
Like that's same concept here.
Same
There's
thing.
a little puddle. She's fine.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing as horse high diving, JP.
Allie, you know about horse high diving, right? It's
Yeah.
right around your
I
boat
know nothing about horses.
fantasy. Oh.
Well, as long as they land in water, she doesn't know
Oh,
about.
got it. Okay. Yeah.
Sea horses. Am I right?
You're not wrong, my friend.
I'm not wrong.
So Juliet's fine.
Doing great.
She sees the bomb. She crawls over to it, and she's like, well, obviously, I don't want to live the rest of my life dying in excruciating pain at the bottom of some sort of hole. So I'm going to see if I can set the bomb off. Let me check to see if any wires got disconnected or anything like that. Oh, never mind. Here's a rock.
Rock whack.
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again?
Crunch, 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 crunch. She hits it 8 times, which is
A lot.
Thank you for the count.
one of the numbers. I
I should add this to my notes.
I read it on once.
Yeah.
Because I did say, it's good to know that dropping it down a mine shaft isn't enough to set off a bomb, banging it with a rock.
8 times, yeah.
So when I get sent back to some island, I can be like, I have a note. You have to bang it with a rock.
8 times.
If we ever end up on an island, your notebook is going to be the one that we're all reading to try and get us out of here instead of
Yeah.
Faraday's notebook.
She's certainly not getting us off the island on a boat.
Oh. And then we find out what happens. Oh, wait, no, we don't.
No.
The
No.
screen flashes white,
No.
and that's the end of season
No,
5.
that's
Thank you
it.
for coming out. Lost.
Yeah.
So, the incident. It was good. You can like something that sucks. You can hate something that rules. Was this 84 minutes and 15 seconds of television? Any good? Did you like it? Allie, yeah. So
It was a crazy one, I think, to jump in on. I feel like all of the Jacob stuff, like little mini flashbacks in there, like helped and hurt me.
Sure.
As far as like, I was like, okay, I'm learning about all these people that if you watched this show, you're 5 seasons in, you know all about these people.
Sure.
And it's a like fun little like, oh, now we're seeing this thing that we've heard about. This is explaining something to me about certain people at least.
chronologically, this is Jacob's first appearance.
Okay.
No shit.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Because I was wondering that too.
when
if
we
he'd
start to see
showed
him
up
as
in
a
the show.
child, those are all season 6 episodes. So this is
Oh.
this is the first time that Jacob actually physically appears in the show.
They've talked about
They
him.
talk
He's
about
like
him
a
constantly.
reference
Yeah, they reference to
to
him
a
all the time. This is
thing.
the first time that we ever see the actual Jacob
Got
in
it.
person chronologically.
it was still confusing as all get out. But
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, apart from all that, Ellie, were you at least entertained to the point where like you would want to watch more, or were you like, this is so dumb, I would not want to continue watching this story?
I don't know that I would commit to the whole thing.
Sure.
But if it was 2007, I'm back in college, and someone in my friend group was like, "Oh, we were gonna hang out, but Lost is on, and I gotta watch this. You're just gonna watch this with me. You've never seen it before." I'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" But then I might come back to be like, "I just want to figure out what's going on."
Sure.
Coming in at that point,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd make it
Yeah.
like scheduled television.
Sure. Okay.
Of the
Sure.
time, but
Okay.
it's just like, oh, if it happens to be on when we hang out, explain to me what's going on.
Sure.
We're
Sure.
gonna talk through it. If you don't want me to talk through it, don't invite me over.
That's fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
Chris.
Having mainly just seen stuff from the first 3 seasons and really not much after that, it was really cool to get some answers or at least a little more of a peek behind the curtain. Because the island that I remember was always very mysterious. You got a mist monster, smoke monster somewhere. There's
Yeah.
a polar bear. There's just weird shit happening all the time. There was just a really cool setup, I think, that made me want to figure out more or see what was going to be handed out.
Sure.
And the Jacob character is very compelling, I feel like, just as his motivations, which are still kind of mysterious. But that played out in a way that was entertaining to me. The points that kind of conflicted with me were just the unrealistic changing of minds, people that are very strong people being wishy-washy. It just, there was a lot of stuff that felt like it wasn't taken. They didn't have the time to take to really make it work in a way that was organic.
Right. We're so plot driven at this point that it's just got to keep moving.
Yeah, you're just on tracks. Like, you're just on tracks and you're just getting from point A to point B at this point.
Yeah.
So, which is fine. But at the same time, it was a little frustrating if, like, you're going to put in so much work on certain parts of the show. Do the work. Make the whole thing fucking solid. But not a bad episode, or episodes, I should say, but just very frustrating at certain points.
Sure.
Adam.
It felt bloated. Not that they were doing this back then, but you could have made this a 90-minute broadcast instead of a 2-hour.
Sure.
Maybe not get it down to an hour broadcast. You're plot driven. This is a season finale. Speed the plot a little bit here. Like, let's not dawdle. Let's not linger in certain places. Like, yes, you need to let the audience breathe and everything like that, but like we've talked about in the past, how Lost is always at its best when it remembers that it's a character drama. The second half of the show is still character driven, but it's more plot driven because they know now that they have a place to go.
Sure.
So they know they have they've left from A, they've got to reach B at some point. So they do have to, and so yeah, a lot of plot here, a lot of wrapping it up, and a lot of making sure that they're set up for their final season. So that said, there were some very cool bits in here that I found very entertaining. I think it was a pretty good season finale. Just could have tightened it up a little bit. So I'd probably give it like a B.
Yeah, that's
okay.
JP,
I did like it. I think I liked the first episode probably a little bit better than the second, but I liked the ending of the second episode enough where everything wrapped up. I 100% agree it's bloated. I feel like the Jacob flashbacks could have just been in a different episode and not mixed in with all this. It was breaking up the pace, which I didn't really appreciate. But I loved Jack and Ben and Jacob. I loved the whole magnet fart mineshaft bomb thing. I hate Juliet's whole thing. That really sort of upset me, how she's like, yeah, let's stop Jack. Let's help him. Out of everything that you had time to do, you didn't make that motivation really solid. Yeah. But if that's the one thing that I truly hated out of 2 hours worth of television, I'm going to say that overall, yes, I did like them. Cool. Both episodes. So.
All right, there you go. All right. Yeah, so yeah, it's all right. This is all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mark it down as an all right.
Some tasty bites. Yeah. I don't know if I'd eat the whole sandwich again.
Have you ever eaten a sandwich again?
Yes.
Not the same sandwich. Sandwich of Theseus.
Yeah, I have.
We're gonna cut those.
I'm confused.
I'm trying to do a sandwich of Theseus joke here, Chris. Allison's like, it's the ship of Theseus, and you know goddamn well it is.
You know I gotta keep that ship accurate.
I'm not an expert on those kinds of
Is that your
ships.
favorite ship, Allison? The Theseus variety?
It used to be. It's not anymore.
That was high school, Allie.
It's just not the same. Or is it? Oh, man, we're doing all kinds of ship of Theseus material over here.
Jesus Christ.
So much of it's going to get cut.
Holy fuck. Lost MVPs. Who was your favorite? Who you giving out the gold medal to? Who did the best job of keeping a level head during the incident? Allie, start us off.
I feel like I was most compelled by the transporting the bomb storyline, if only because it was like ridiculous and there was things going on. Whereas everyone else we cut to and it's just like, and we are walking.
So Jack?
I don't need 20 minutes of walking.
The bomb.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought her favorite character was the bomb.
Yeah, it's the bomb.
The MVP is the bomb.
That's a phenomenal fucking answer. Are you kidding me?
I mean, that's the one that comes through in the end.
That's exactly it.
That's who I thought you were going to
Bomb's
say.
motivations never change, guys.
Dude, bomb is fucking solid.
Bomb is on point.
Excellent pick.
Bomb do what bomb do.
Bomb comes up with a twist. Guess what? Didn't detonate.
Yep.
Dude, the bomb went through a glow up.
Yep.
Went through a character arc. 3-act structure. Love the bomb.
Yep. Answered the hero's call. All of that.
Yeah.
The hero's call. Oh, just like Oppenheimer.
Chris.
What?
Who's your MVP?
My MVP, honestly, I think it's Jacob for his stone cold last line to Ben of just like, what about you?
What about you?
Like, I personally am just so tired of people making shit about them when it's not.
Hard. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, fuck him.
Shit go hard, for
Go
sure.
hard. Yeah, so I think Jacob.
All right. JP.
Ben for stabbing Jacob. I'm sure that this plays into. I'm sure Jacob like wanted him to do it or something like that. Ben is always having to make decisions, and yes, they are selfish and they are Ben centric, but it is always in the lens of his responsibility to the island. I feel like this is the first time Ben made a decision for Ben, and I love that for him.
Sure, like that.
Adam.
Miles.
Oh, dude,
You guys didn't think about this?
Yeah, really glad you guys thought this through. I'm gonna go back to the front of the van now.
I think because I felt the pain of that line so much.
That was it. Like,
I was like, I can't be my favorite because I vibe with that too hard.
but it was at that point in the episode where I was like, did they think about this?
I didn't think about this. Did these people?
That and we see Miles, trying to figure out a little bit what his deal is with his relationship with his dad, and so him just seeing his dad get hurt and be like, "Dad, oh my god," that was pretty heartwarming too. So yeah. I'm gonna give it to Miles, mostly for his incredulity about his coworkers, but a little bit for the dad thing too.
Dr. Chang's like, "Did you just call me dad?" He said, I meant daddy-o, like, you're cool.
The opposite side of the coin. Who's out here fucking up? Who's flip-flopping? Who's wishy-washy? Who's king suck of shit mountain? The lost forever. Who's your least favorite character of the episode? Allie, kick it off.
That box.
The box.
The body crate?
Allie just hated the props more than anything.
No, I just felt like I had to like go with the theme. No, but like, again, I have no connections to these people, and I feel like because there was so many things going on plot-wise,
Sure,
like I didn't really develop any connections to the people.
That's okay.
So it was like, these are the storylines I'm interested in. Walking the box through the jungle was like
It's
the
so
least
fucking
interesting
dumb.
to me.
Chris, who's your lost forever?
You know what? Not and to no fault of her own on her acting part, but what they did to Juliet's character.
Just start writing
Juliet, yeah, it was honestly, she was the most frustrating character in the episodes, just because I do remember a time where she was a strong character that had motivations, had reasons, and she just seemed to like, which way's the wind blowing?
What kind of face did I say she had? She had resting confused face?
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, why is she always so confused?
Yeah, they dressed her up like a fucking Barbie and didn't give her anything to do besides be mad at boys.
Resting confused.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Totally fair. Adam.
Radzinski, man, fucking nerds need to slow down because there's nothing. The only thing worse than a nerd is an aggressive nerd.
Sure.
Where's that confidence come from, nerd?
And it's not even confidence. Just being mad that people aren't hyping the nerd shit, and it's like, okay, like, yeah, no, this is a cool experiment and everything, dude. Like, yes, electromagnets, drills, all that good stuff. Love it. Time and a place. Armed insurrection, an uprising happening at the barracks. Listen to Dr. Chang. He's got his head on straight. Shut it down. Come back later. The magnet's not going anywhere. The drill's not going anywhere. Nerd.
But his hairline's receding quickly, so he's got to go.
Hey, shut up.
Hey, as a man over 35, I can also say I know the pain. It's fine.
Me and Chris are both wearing hats inside. It's
Hi.
really great. JP.
Not to jump on her, but I also picked Juliet for all the same reasons that Chris did. The flip-flop makes no sense, and it made me so upset.
Yeah.
Like, their explanation's just not enough.
No.
We've said it a zillion times, right? Like, this is supposed to be a character show, and that was such an out-of-character 180 that I was like, no. Yeah. This is not Juliet.
Juliet's confident enough in herself and in her relationship with Sawyer that she shouldn't be threatened by Kate. And I guess maybe it's not necessarily being threatened by Kate, but she's doubting Sawyer's commitment. But yeah, it's just Juliet's a bad bitch, and she shouldn't care about that shit.
Man, this was a lot of loss.
Chris, Allie.
Oh my gosh. Guys,
thank you so much for coming on the
thank
show.
You.
Taking time.
So much.
Thank you for having me, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it was a good time.
It was a pleasure.
You guys have anything you want to plug?
I'm on my book tour right now, so next stop is Rochester, New York.
Yeah,
and,
you're reading a book.
I'm reading a book. I'm just stopping in random bookstores and reading. So I'm going to Rochester. I'm going to be reading The Hungry Caterpillar. You will not believe what that little fucker puts away. I can tell you. Surprises everybody in the bookstore when I read it.
Lordy. Yeah, because you weren't invited.
When you just stand on a counter and start reading a children's book as a 37-year-old man and not from the town, people have questions. I'm looking to give them answers on my book tour.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Allison?
You could follow us on Instagram to see pictures of our dog.
Yeah, there you go.
She's adorable.
JP, what are we watching next time?
Oh, man. Next time, if you're looking to be lost with us, we're going to be watching Season 6, Episode 7, Dr. Linus. Centric character, you guessed it, Hurley. No, it's Ben. Justin Nichols is going to be back. It's going to be a very good time.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you again, Chris and Allie, for
Thank
coming
you
by,
guys.
taking the time. Absolute pleasure to have you. I can't wait to have you back. Thank you out there in Lost on Lost Land for tuning in and sticking around. We appreciate you guys so much.
Always.
We would absolutely continue to do this without you because JP and I are obsessed with the sounds of our own voices. But it's nice that you're here.
Yeah. Let me try a new outro here.
The new intro
Is it just
go well.
bye?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just gonna. Hey, everyone in Lost on Lost Land, goodbye.
Just cut.
Lost on Lost is produced and edited by me and JP.
We wish to acknowledge that we live, work, and produce our show on occupied land.
Burbank, California is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Tongva, Chumash, Kizh, and Fernandino Tataviam peoples.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miama, and Ho-Chunk peoples.
And Lost was produced in Hawaii on the lands of the Kanaka Maoli.
Visit native-land.ca to learn more about the land you live and work on.
You can engage with us on IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Lost on Lost 1.
You can also email us at wearelostonlost@gmail.com or support us with dollar monies at coffee.com/wearelostonlost.
Thanks to Lostpedia and its community of contributors, Danny Schmitz, random.org, and as always, you the listeners for tuning in.
We're hosted at Podbean. You can hear us there or wherever you get your podcasts, except MySpace. We're not on MySpace.
Yet.